Hey there, how's it going? My face definitely needs more light. I think I just got a tan. I look like I belong in a Spanish soap opera. I should actually get the thing that I'm reviewing. Since the beginning of this channel, aka time, I have gotten a steady stream of comments asking me to cover the teenage engineering OP-1. And I feel like just about every pro audio YouTube channel has done a ton of content on the teenage engineering OP-1 in pretty much every possible use case. It is just very unlikely that I would have anything new to contribute over a decade after the thing came out. But now we have this, the OP-1 Field. They added field to the name because you can grow corn on it. Or maybe because it is in the field of things that you cannot afford. No, seriously, this thing costs $2,000 and a lot of people are really pissed off. Which I guess doesn't really mean anything because I'm starting to think that a lot of music producers like being pissed off about things more than they like producing music, and that's fine, more power to them. But really, $2,000, yeesh. And I was initially wondering if this had something to do with the chip shortage and inflation, or if it just had more to do with teenage engineering fancying themselves as a bit of a designer pro audio brand. And I did a little sniffing around, and I do believe that it is, in fact, the latter. For example, this fanny pack to hold this costs almost as much as the Pocket Modular 16 system. And you know what? That's fine. It's their vision. And I don't have any problem with that. But I'm also not going to be holding back any punches. If you want to price this at $100 more than what Akai is charging for an MPC Key 61, then I'm absolutely going to be pointing out what it's lacking. My self-designated role in this video was to spend a whole lot of time learning this very cool and unique portable music workstation that I am borrowing, and then decide if I want to pay for it or send it back. And I have absolutely no bias in either direction. You might be wondering who the hell is going to lend me an OP-1 Field for an extended period of time. And the answer to that question is Perfect Circuit, an independently owned synth and music gear shop in Burbank, California that has a really vast collection of unique synthesizers and devices, and they ship everywhere in the world. Perfect Circuit has contributed to making a whole lot of the content on this channel possible, as they are genuinely interested in creators like myself making organic music-making content rather than influencer marketing. For quite some time now, I've had a non-exclusive affiliate partnership with Perfect Circuit, and from this video forward, any money that I make from that affiliate partnership will be donated to the ACLU. So if you do decide to buy an OP-1 Field, it would be awesome if you click the link down there. So I asked Perfect Circuit if I could borrow the OP-1 Field and take it to a 180-acre Longhorn cattle ranch way off the grid in rural Texas. And I also warned them that I would be brutally honest in this review, and a bad review could potentially hurt their sales. And they said, all right, we're curious to see your take on it. So here we are. Let's listen to some ranch beats. Alrighty, so let's get the super obvious stuff out of the way first. What an immediately attractive, unique, and fun way to produce music. Sometimes it might even be a little bit too unique, as I feel like some quality of life features have been traded for, I don't know, weird features. And I actually would have no problem for this if this was priced in a way that made it accessible to a new musician. And I know that Teenage Engineering has pulled off this exact thing in the past. Now let's just get the immediate general complaints out of the way. There is no undo button. There is no input quantization. There are workarounds, but they are a pain in the ass. There is no velocity when you press a key. Some will argue that if you run into limitations here, then you could just export those stems to a DAW and complete it there without any limitations. I don't buy this at all. If I wanted to use a DAW, I'd use a DAW. If I wanted to work on my rhythm timing, I would just go play the drums. I wouldn't buy this. A good music hardware designer understands the limitations of an instrument and makes those limitations inspiring. This would be a great example of that for me personally. However, the OP-1 Field's limitation, I hate to say this word, but they were kind of discouraging. For example, I'm not going to take risks playing a complex melody when I'm overdubbing if there's no easy way to undo a mistake. That actually makes my song less interesting, and that's really damning. Remember, this is on the same chopping block as the Poly and Play and the MPC and the Deluge and the Digitact and even an iPad Pro. And it's much more expensive than any of those things. I would strongly suggest that if they want to sell this for $2,000, then in future firmware updates, they're going to have to consider adding some heavy quality of life features. Otherwise, I just don't really see these selling well 6 months from now or a year from now or 2 years from now, given how diverse the novelty synth market is in 2022. It probably sounds like I'm taking a gigantic shit on this, and I'm absolutely not. The synthesizer machines or plugins or whatever you call them are very unique and very diverse. They're not the most powerful things in the world, and they could use some more modulation, but I didn't expect them to be the most powerful things in the world. The same goes for the effects. They don't sound world-class or incredible, but they are really, really fun to play with. There's an onboard microphone that you can sample from, and while it's not stereo, which I kind of wish it was, it still is really fun to just sample some found sounds while you're actually writing a song. You can also sample and record FM radio, which is super fun. And this is just a message to anybody making a device that has a radio receiver on it in the future. I really hope to see shortwave radio come into these devices because there's so much more material that you could sample that isn't copyrighted and just really weird and unique material out there in general. The unit itself feels very well made. It feels like a sturdy combination of hard metal and hard plastic. The screen is not a touch screen, and 99% of the time I am totally okay with that. It is very vibrant and easy to see. The graphics are very well designed and fun. If you're into making lo-fi type music, then this is probably your spirit animal, as it has a wide selection of different tape emulations, even a mini disc emulation, some dirty compressors, drives, just general noisy effects. So let's hear it, and if you're already familiar with the OP-1 workflow, you'll probably learn nothing in this next part of the video. I'm not a big fan of doing unboxing sequences, but Teenage Engineering is pretty good at boxing. I guess what I'm trying to say is that they usually put some thought into packaging, and they definitely have here. Now, I had briefly watched an unboxing video, and I thought that this would be like a rubber hard shell clam case for the OP-1 Field, but it is made out of paper, and I've been using it as a case because, well, I needed something to protect it. And then it has these little rubber guys here. Open it up. We have a nice little flipbook manual. These are Velcro stickers for what I assume would be a solution if you wanted to mount the OP-1 Field to something. I'm not really feeling that. You have a USB-C cable for charging it or data. There is no DIN MIDI cable, so if you want to hook up one of these 5-pin things to another synth, you're gonna have to splurge and buy one. I don't own an original OP-1, so I can't verify this. I've just sort of looked around on the internet, but allegedly most original OP-1 cases will not fit the OP-1 field properly. So if you are upgrading, you may have to buy yet another case to carry it around. This seems like a really stylish and cleverly designed way to cut costs, which I'm usually a big fan of, but again, with this price tag, it feels a bit like buying a really nice BMW and then getting free paper floor mats. The power switch here on the side is quite fancy, and I would fancy it on something like the Polybrute, or really anything that isn't battery powered. However, it is very easy to accidentally turn on the unit, and I have actually had it run out of batteries as a result of that, even when it was in its little paper case. But let's talk about the fun things here. This is generally what you're going to be met with when you turn the unit on. So let's record on this tape. Okay, if we hold down shift, we could kind of quickly move to different bars. So let's go to that last one, cut. So I'm getting quite efficient at this. And then paste. Now we go to the end, that will be our out, and now we have a loop. While this drum synthesizer slash drum machine is far from what I would consider powerful, it is still a great option, and I would be pretty disappointed if I only had a drum sampler. So now, rather than recording this on the exact same tape track, which would mean that I would have to sacrifice everything if I made a mistake, I could just go to track 2 and hit record. Now I'm going to go to track 3 and I'm going to try and record a 16th note in time. I guarantee I'm going to screw it up, especially without a lead in. Okay, so we're going to undo that. Go back to track 2. I'm going to click this. I'm going to select an arpeggio. This sounds like hot garbage to me. Well, I'm going to start over entirely. I'm going to start with the drums. I'm going to click a little pattern thing here. So what we have here is essentially a step sequencer. It has a swing on it as well, and reverse swing. Let's get rid of our loop and record it in here. Let's go to track 2. Let's select our synth here and record another sequence. This is so hard to do without a metronome lead in, isn't it? Okay. Let's use this microphone here to sample some vitamin D. We need some bass. I feel like Dimension is probably my favorite synth out of all of them. It's just kind of a wavetable subtractive ordeal. Yeah, this will be a good bass. Oops. I pressed the wrong note. Yeah, now I fucked up my shaker. Okay, I gotta cut that. It is a bit punishing. Wait, now my shakers are out of order. What is happening? Not sure how this got so out of sync. All right, no screwing up this time, Ben. Okay, now in our master channel, we could also hold down shift and pan some of these things. Hit number 2 and EQ everything. Number 3, we have some master effects. We could basically choose any of the effects that we use in our instruments, such as CWO or cow. Then finally, if we press 4, we could level everything out. We could add some drive and distortion to it. Then if we want to mix this down to file, we can hit the COM button here. And we could also broadcast it to radio, which is actually pretty awesome. But let's just mix it down for now. And here we go. I believe we're now recording a mix down, and go. What a perfect time to show you the tape speed controls so we can make it sound even more imperfect. Or speed it up. Turn to a drum and bass track. And that's how you can make a beat on the OP-1 field. Now I'm deleting everything that I just made here because while I was on my 1-week trip, I completely ran out of space on this. And I was just kind of like, wait, what? I can't make another song without deleting them? And I started having to delete things that I made that I actually liked because I just didn't have access to a computer to back it up or mix it down, which, duh. So if I move the tape forward a bit, turn the microphone on, I can actually record in reverse, which is fun.
Neb. Serbian neighbors.
Now let's play that back.
Serbian neighbors. Benn.
Another very cool thing that you can do is hold Shift, record, play, and then whenever I move this dial, it will record. So I could be like,
hello, my name is Benn.
I feel like my eyesight isn't good enough for the experiment I'm about to do here. Let's go to our drum channel. Let's put a whole lot of gate reverb on it. I'm gonna beef my tempo way up here. All right, let's record a little melody. And another melody. Let's just do a quick browsing of the instruments that are available to us. So first we have cluster. Next up is digital. Then dimension, which I mentioned. This is DNA. This is really interesting. I don't think I've been able to get any sounds that I would actually use out of it, but maybe for sound design. This is Dr. Wave. This is D-synth, which is very similar to the drum synth. I assume that the D stands for drum. This is FM. You could change the topology of your algorithm. This is phase, which is a phase synthesizer. This is pulse. This is sampler, which is a sampler. Then there's string, which is a car plus strong algorithm. Ooh, that's harsh. And then last but not least would be voltage. And to be honest, I assume it's just supposed to be a noisy synth. I never really got anything terribly useful out of it. I'm sure somebody has. I could just be not understanding it entirely. Finally, while just about all of these synths are really diverse and unique, as well as limiting in their own right, you can easily, well, not easily, it is kind of weird to remember, but you could memorize to press Shift 1 to change instruments and then hold this other 2/out, and that gives you the option of going through some presets. So, for example, FM presets. And while we're on this kind of normal sounding sound, let's just try and make a little noise blast reverb pulse here. There we go. And let's listen to this new reverb. I believe that this mother reverb is a new addition to the OP-1 field, which kind of makes me reel back in horror to think, oh my God, everything I made on an OP-1 would sound bad if I didn't have this reverb to kind of liven things up, because the other reverbs are frankly, I don't know, just not that good. And by the way, Mother is not some pristine reverb algorithm. I think it's actually a port of an open source one, but that's just my ear. I could be totally wrong, but it's decent. It gets the job done. Distance down to 37. And down to like 12. It's a pretty noisy reverb, but the gate does make it quite interesting. And then you could pretty easily color it. So I would absolutely say that it is a better reverb than you would get on a Roland or Yamaha or MPC, for example, but not as good as you would get with a good reverb VST or pedal. Let's load up a little sound here and let's take a look at the little sequencer / arpeggio machine things. We could change the timing of the arpeggiator. We could change how many are played at once. This is the endless machine, which is kind of a different type of arpeggiator, I guess I would say. It's pretty creative. I haven't used it personally, but it is fun to play with. This one is called Finger, and I don't get it. I mean, I get it. I get like what's happening, and I've read up on the functionality of it, but I just don't get why it would be that useful to me. But it is totally possible that I'm missing something. Hold does kind of what you would expect. It holds, but it also allows you to sweep notes. Pattern is a kind of cumbersome step sequencer with swing. Now, I did lie earlier, not intentionally, accidentally, kind of forgot about this. You can do some input quantization in this pattern mode. It's just not all that handy. But I'm going to hold down Shift. Well, I'm going to play it and then hold down Shift and do this. And that'll be automatically quantized. And then we can move it around. I was not able to find this anywhere, and it drove me absolutely crazy because I would erase notes one by one. But if you hold down Shift and turn this, the big stick just kind of erases everything. Also, there's swing. This is Sketch, which is essentially an Etch-a-Sketch. And I would say it's probably better for sound design than melody creation. Or just better for fun. Then finally we have Tomboa, which I believe is a new addition to the OP-1 field. And I like it. You get to just bounce balls around. And you could close this so they'll continue to bounce around. I'm sure I am missing more than a few things like sampling from FM radio or the drum sampler, things like that. There's a whole lot to do on here, but I just wanted to cover the new things and I guess give you my general overview of it without making a half-hour long video, which hopefully this isn't going to be. So what do you think? My take, I think that if you have the money to spend and if you like the user interface and the workflow and you think that for the next 5+ years you would be using this as a notepad to scratch out some musical ideas and maybe bring them into a session later or even complete them on here, then I could say that this is easily a justifiable $2,000 spent. I personally thought I would never be able to favor the OP-1 field over an iPad Pro for sketching out ideas or portable music production, but I actually do favor it over a tablet despite the obvious limitations. The entire time I've had it in my possession, I've gone back and forth between wanting to keep it and wanting to send it back. And now that we're here in the moment of truth, I think I'm going to keep it. And I think that if it couldn't be a tax write-off, and if I didn't know what was coming next in the next couple firmware updates, I probably would be sending it back. Another perk that I really didn't think about until I borrowed the OP-1 field that is probably also a perk with some other portable music making devices is that in those in-between moments, such as sitting in a waiting room or eating dinner by yourself, it provides you an alternative to this. And I feel like most of us want some sort of alternative or some sort of reason to be spending less time here. And of course, just simply being able to hash out some audio ideas and save them as audio files that you could put into a sample pool that you could later use when you want to finish a track is a really good thing. I suppose. Maybe I'm just talking myself into it at this point. If you think that it's worth the expense, then get it from Perfect Circuit in the affiliate link below. And like I mentioned earlier, I will donate 100% of any affiliate income to the ACLU, and you can feel like a good person for buying a $2,000 portable synth. And hey, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if there's anything you want me to cover in the future, let me know in the comments. And if you want to join an amazing community with everything from unreleased music, audio assets, reverb impulses, monthly songwriting challenges, game servers, and so on, you can do that for as little as $1 a month. I am considering raising the base membership to $2 a month in exchange for a whole truckload of perks for all of the members, but more on that later. It's still far off in the future. All right, love ya. Talk to you later. Bye.